People often think, "Oh yeah, how often are you on Maui?" This is my home, no other place.
Mick Fleetwood ought to be basking in the glory of a life full of financial achievement and musical victory. However, it is devastating to see how he is currently living. The man who endured the band's most difficult times and assisted in spreading rumors has suffered terrible personal losses that have left him alone and in a difficult situation. Mick has experienced a great deal of grief and loss in the last few years, from the untimely death of his best buddy to the horrific wildfires that destroyed his favorite Maui restaurant. Longtime Fleetwood Mac fans will be shocked by what we've learned about his current circumstances, which also expose the inner suffering of one of rock's most lasting characters. You tragic loss. The loss of Christine McVie on November 30th, 2022, dealt Mick Fleetwood the most painful blow in recent years. Not only did Mick lose a bandmate, but he also lost his best friend, his musical soulmate, and the person who had been by his side the whole time Fleetwood Mac was on the road. No other loss in Mick's life affected him as much as the death of Christine at the age of 79 due to complications after a stroke. The two had a special connection that went beyond their work relationship. Christine remained the steady foundation of Fleetwood Mac, despite the fact that other band members came and departed, and that romantic relationships within the group caused upheaval. Mick was said to have been distraught when he was the first to learn of her passing. His already devastated heart was burdened with the obligation of informing the audience and the other band members. Without his anchor, the man who had always been the rock of the band found himself adrift. The knowledge that Christine's passing signaled the end of an era added to Mick's sorrow. Dreams of a future Fleetwood Mac reunion or collaboration were dashed, and the band's iconic lineup was now irrevocably broken. This finality was upsetting to someone who had devoted his adult life to the band. Mick is now doubting his own purpose and destiny as a result of the loss. Fleetwood Mac seems unfinished without Christine. He has had a hard time finding purpose in living without her. According to Mick's close friends, he is in a protracted grief phase and finds it difficult to comprehend that his best friend has passed away. The Maui restaurant tragedy, Paradise Lost. If losing Christine McVie wasn't heartbreaking enough, Mick Fleetwood suffered yet another setback in August 2023 when his favorite restaurant, Fleetwood's on Front Street, was destroyed by Maui wildfires. This was more than just a loss for the company. It was the loss of his haven and his ties to the neighborhood he had spent decades in. For Mick, Fleetwood's on Front Street had been more than just a dining establishment. It served as his escape from the demands of rock celebrity, his passion project, and a means of giving back to the Maui community. Since the establishment's launch in 2012, he has given it his all, frequently playing there himself and establishing it as a destination for both residents and visitors. Mick was abroad when the horrific Lahaina fire struck, and he could only watch helplessly as news reports showed his restaurant engulfed in flames. The loss of the restaurant represented more than just financial devastation, he added in a mournful statement. 10 years' worth of relationships, memories, and ties to the community were destroyed. In Lahaina, Mick had created something significant, and seeing it burn was like losing another aspect of who he was. Mick's initial instinct was to assist others, even if he had experienced his own devastating loss. Even during his toughest moment, he shown his usual kindness by planning the Malama Maui benefit concert to raise money for fire victims. But according to acquaintances, his emotional and physical well-being have suffered greatly as a result of trying to assist others while coping with his own loss. Financial difficulties and previous errors. Many people believe that Mick is financially secure because of Fleetwood Mac's decades of success, but the truth is more nuanced and concerning. He is in a more vulnerable position than his admirers may realize due to his prior financial missteps and lavish lifestyle, particularly as he deals with the expenses of reconstruction following the Maui fires. Mick has a history of financial difficulties. They stem from his well-known bankruptcy in 1984, when he lost everything as a result of his lavish spending and bad investment choices. He was well known for spending money on extravagant items that he did not completely comprehend, and he once acknowledged that he had purchased an entire farm without knowing the whole cost. Another factor that led to Fleetwood Mac's financial collapse was his cocaine addiction during its prime. Regarding his financial missteps, Mick has stated that he likely holds the world record for the most money lost by a musician. This self-deprecating revelation highlights the severity of his prior financial mishandling and how it has affected his current circumstances for a long time. Despite rebuilding his income over the years, Mick has never been as wealthy as some of his former bandmates. At a time when he should be enjoying retirement, the devastation of his Maui restaurant, which was a major investment and source of revenue, has put him under further financial strain. Mick's financial circumstances stand in sharp contrast to those of the other members of Fleetwood Mac. Mick's estimated personal worth is far lower at roughly $30 million, compared to Stevie Nicks' estimated net worth of over $120 million. Would he have had greater security in his golden years if he had made wiser financial choices when he was younger? As he deals with the expenses of reconstructing his life following recent losses, the question consumes him, not loneliness and health issues. Mick Fleetwood is 77 years old and dealing with the effects of aging, and his loved ones are growing more worried about his physical and emotional well-being. The once vibrant drummer has clearly suffered from the mix of sadness, financial strain, and the loneliness that follows loss. Since Christine's passing and the Maui fires, Mick's friends and family have observed notable shifts in his disposition and level of activity. Known for his towering presence and contagious energy, the man who used to be the life of the party has turned introverted and depressed. He struggles to find delight in things that used to make him happy and spends a lot of time by himself. His age's physical demands are also starting to show. His physique has suffered from decades of drumming, and he now moves more cautiously and slowly than he did when he was younger. His aging process has been sped up by the stress of recent losses. Many close to him have noticed how much older he looks, now that Christine is gone. Mick's location has made him even more isolated. Maui used to be his paradise, but since Lahana and his restaurant were destroyed, the island has been plagued by memories of what was lost. In his current emotional state, he finds it difficult to decide whether to start over somewhere else or rebuild in the same place. His mental health has also been impacted by the absence of frequent musical collaboration. Mick has always used music as his main therapeutic and expressive medium. However, he has lost his most significant creative outlet in the absence of Christine, and with Fleetwood Mac's future uncertain. He feels aimless and cut off from his identity as a performer as a result of this musical quiet. Future uncertainties and declining hope. As Mick Fleetwood gets closer to turning 78, the future appears hazy and even dismal. After surviving every Fleetwood Mac problem and personal setback, the man who once appeared unbreakable now faces seemingly insurmountable obstacles. Mick is troubled by the thought of Fleetwood Mac's future. Meaningful musical collaboration appears unlikely now that Christine is gone, and ties with other band members are hampered by decades of history. According to him, it seems impossible to carry on without Christine, depriving him of the career that has characterized his adult life. There are benefits and drawbacks to rebuilding his Maui eatery. At his age, the emotional and financial commitment needed seems overwhelming, even though it would provide him a sense of purpose and re-establish his connection to the community. The question of whether he has the energy to start anew is broader than the decision to rebuild. Mick's health issues give his future even more doubt. Although he hasn't made any significant medical disclosures in public, his loved ones are concerned about how stress and grief may affect his health. Emotional trauma and senior age combine to create a delicate scenario that needs to be handled carefully. Most regrettably, Mick appears to have lost a lot of his innate optimism and fortitude. After overcoming addiction, band breakups, and bankruptcy, the man now finds it difficult to see a way forward. According to his friends, he is going about his everyday business without the charisma that used to make him such an interesting character. How do you feel about Mick Fleetwood's present circumstances? Do you think he can get over these obstacles? Please share your opinions in the comments section below. Please remember to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell for more music-related stories if you found this insight into Mick's hardships to be as moving as we did. We appreciate your time and hope to see you in the next video.